Joan Maso. He is a principal investigator at CREAF and leading specialized group on geospatial interoperability, GIS, remote sensing. He has been involved in multiple standardization work, heavily involved in OGC, but also ISO, run and participated in a number of EU projects, Horizon projects, framework projects, and ESA. He has also engaged in international organizations such as the European Geosciences Union. Very much the way I think I met you, Joan, was in context of, it was GeoWeekwa, so it was Geo, and developing data sharing principles or data management principles for quality, but also in citizen science. So Joan, with that, it was super interesting to hear you're introducing the network or the coordination of data spaces. Yeah, Joan, you are also coordinating the EuroGeo action group on data spaces. So the floor is yours. I will stop sharing.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So this is going to be an overview of data spaces in Europe, and since I'm the coordinator of the All Data for Green Deal project, so probably a little bit more on that one in particular. So first things first, data spaces. No, what are data spaces? But we have heard about Arne presentation that tried to cover this in a more generic way that I'm doing. In here, what I'm trying to do is just looking at the European Commission view of what a data space is. And they say it's bringing together relevant data infrastructures and government frameworks in order to facilitate the data pooling and data sharing. So in this very sentence, we have all what we need. There is the data pooling and data sharing. So it's deploying tools and services and so on for that efficient use of the data. We have the government structures that, well, they talk about EU legislation, but they also talk about transparency and fair. And we have also the part about the data infrastructure, the availability, and the interoperability. Because as Arne said, this should be a soft infrastructure, so it should benefit from many elements that are already out there. When I approach that topic, I approached from the Green Deal approach, the Green Deal data space. So I had my, my environmental, if you want, scientific hat. And I thought that this is going to be about open data and open data and open data. But actually it's not completely, because of course we have data tools, data access, even the possibility to upload data, but we also have access control. That's because there is not only the Green Deal data space, there are others, and in all of them there is this need to hold, or this view of enabling this digital economy. So this data spaces needs to be a place where there is access control, there is trust, and there is confidence in a way that then you can boost in innovation, because you can rely on not only the data space, but also in the other people playing in the data space. So that's something that we have to take into account. But at the same time, of course, there will be a governance that ensure fair and transparency and non-discriminatory access to the data. There will be rules to actually protect not just the personal data, but also the rights and the way that the European Union behaves. It is also a technical infrastructure that needs to have some security by design and so on, but also since it's decentralized, we will see this balance between a common technical infrastructure and a set of building blocks that are trying to work together in an interconnection and interoperable way, using sets of standards that we have experimented a lot in Inspire, but also with these new OGC APIs that are emerging, that are easier maybe to use in the new devices and infrastructures that we are deploying. So you have seen this slide already. Arne presented that. How many they are? 9, I believe. But actually, it is not that, because the situation is growing. Everybody wants to have a data space these days. And even the Commission is presenting this media data space, this cultural heritage data space, and recently, this Copernicus data space ecosystem that was actually announced, and I believe is gonna replace the Copernicus hub in the end. So the situation is growing, and also all these data spaces should work together. So there should be in the end some kind of interoperability between them. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the Green Deal data space and this project in particular. Our mission is actually to try and include in the data space things that maybe were not so much represented in what, let's call it, the environmental prototype data spaces that was Inspire. Even if it was never called a data space before. Let's include in situ data, let's include remote sensing, let's include citizen science, let's include Internet of Things, let's include artificial intelligence. And we have to do that collaborating with other groups, because we cannot do that alone. We want to demonstrate that that's possible in concrete examples on climate change, zero pollution, and biodiversity to solve the problems that we have there. Our proposal, and here you see our architecture. You are seeing the same thing. You see a box that actually represents the data space built with fair building blocks that are hexagonal in this case, and you are seeing from outside arriving different data sources. So we actually believe in the standardization, and we more. Some of our partners are already OGC members or the OGC itself. So we want to experiment with the deployment of these OGC APIs and demonstrate that that's the right way to generate integration and more integration. Of course, we will focus on end users. Our solution is about interoperability. We want to use also the sensor thing APIs, and this is something that we share with Iliad. We want to improve the semantic interoperability of the different data layers using semantic variables and other concepts, and we share that with Iliad. We want to improve the data quality descriptions and the metadata, and probably we share that with Iliad too. We want to work on the defragmentation and increase the data sharing and the fair and apply the shared principles. And of course, we share that with Iliad. We want to reuse existing CR infrastructures. It is not our mission to create a new one. So if you try and see one of these diagrams that express what the Green Deal is and which are the focus, you see some of the pilots that we have here in the environmental data. We will work on water quality lakes, and this is not data lakes. This is a real lake in the city of Berlin. We are working on biodiversity dynamics and corridors on the metropolitan area of Barcelona. And in air quality, we want to deploy sensors in northern Italy for this IoT aspect, and this is definitely for air pollution. I wanted to emphasize that there is in the Green Deal, there is a marine data aspect too. So definitely Iliad working there. And this integration of different data sources we are seeing here, satellite data, user-generated data, Internet of Things, socioeconomical data, whatever. So Iliad could be considered a contribution to the Green Deal data space, or could be considered a data space in itself. This is something that we will see in the future. But anyway, for the moment, definitely Iliad can contribute on the marine data for the Green Deal data space. We are using the same standards in the data spaces that Iliad is proposing to build the digital twin. And Iliad is also part of the EuroGeo Green Deal Data Space Action Group that actually Bente presented or announced before. I would like to say that we are not the only ones working on that. There are 3 more sister projects that DG Research actually awarded to. So we are the ones that are more on integrating in situ and citizen science and Internet of Things. The FeriCube is working more on the concept of data cube, so maybe more remote sensing and raster data. There is this usage project that is focusing on urban applications, and this V3 or VCube that actually wants to generate a biodiversity data cube to also push in that direction in the Green Deal data space. Great is part of this action group. And then there are other projects that contribute, maybe bringing infrastructure or data processing capacity, like the Open Earth Monitor. And data processing capacity is something that appears also here and there in the data space definition. Sometimes you see it, so sometimes you don't see it. Even talking about this, the very same data space. And these other projects, including Iliad and Eiffel and EO4EU, that are also contributing to the data space. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the data space in general and our All Data for Green Deal contribution to the Green Deal data space.
Thank you very much, Joan. And as we can see, there's it's a very lively community out there with popping up new initiatives when it comes to data spaces. And you gave a very nice overview of what's happening right now. I see that there's a couple of questions in the chat, and I'm very grateful for that. And we will take answering those questions after Mattia has spoken. Before we introduce Mattia, I will share the results of the poll, where we asked you if you foresee the use of different thematic data spaces, now that you heard both about data spaces and data lakes, in your digital twin. 17% of you are planning to use multiple data spaces, and most of you, actually 37%, will combine both data spaces and data lakes. Currently, some of you are 10%, 11%, are not doing it yet, but you are considering the options, and some are not sure and do not know. So thank you very much for that results, for that answering our poll.